All right. Folks, get in here. We'll get rolling. Can you guys hear me? John Tay says there is no audio or no sound. Let me know if you guys can hear me or not. Just give me a thumbs up if the audio is okay. On my end, it's saying that it's okay, but who knows? Awesome. Thanks, Duval. I don't know, Jonte. I'm getting, okay. And Jonte can hear me as well now. Perfect. All right. Well, welcome. If y'all have any questions, feel free to start to plug those in. And I'm excited to talk about today's topic. Is something we're working on the back end. I think it's going to be, at least for the next couple of years, all this stuff ebbs and flows, things change, there are new opportunities that come up, and you want to adjust your business based on that. Having been in the space for 20 years, I've seen a lot of different times where credit just was very tight. Seen other times where credit was very loose. And now that, there is so much money everywhere, it's a time where you want to leverage your credit in every way possible. And I know for some folks, they never think about those strategies because they feel like, well, my credit score is bad, or, I don't have a strong credit history. And so that's not an opportunity that I can take advantage of. And, I've taught so much about all of the ways that you can get into a deal without using your own money, or get into a deal leveraging the business as assets, doing more of those traditional leverage buyout strategies with a business. But now that credit has become outrageously cheap, I mean, it is really, really outrageous. And, all of the banks and investors are just looking for places to put money and yield. And, I mentioned this before, when we hear about trillions being printed or really just, it's, on a computer, but, quote unquote, printed and put into the economy, we can be detached from those numbers, but that money really does go somewhere. And we're at a time now where money itself is that is a commodity. And what the money is fighting for is to find places where it can generate yield, and preferably yield that's going to keep up with inflation. And so, all of that money that has been printed, it's gotta go somewhere. And then even when it goes to that place, if it goes to an investment bank or it goes to a bank or whatever, they've got to then put that to work. So all of that is really going to end up as credit. And not to get too complicated, but really all of our money is really just credit. Even going back, these kind of were banknotes, but I digress. So what I wanted to do is talk a little bit about credit, give you a couple pointers on how easy it is to improve your credit score if you're willing to put in the work. And in some cases, we're actually helping clients do that work. Because on the other side of that are so many opportunities right now that I want y'all to be able to leverage, because it's not going to exist forever. Like, this isn't just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, like I can do this at any time. As with anything, you've got to hit the iron while the iron's hot. So one of the things that people reach out to me, and I did a video on SBA, is I can't get approved of that. I've got these collections. And the funny thing for me is like collections are one of the easier things to get rid of. I'm going to talk about bankruptcy and how you can actually get those removed from your credit report. But hacking collections is like one of the easier things, and the impact that it can have on your credit score is immediate and just really powerful. I think unlike a lot of things where it's like, okay, you change this thing and then it takes forever to get let me turn off these notifications. It takes forever to get a return on that. I think that, like when it comes to some things like getting a collection removed, you see that increase. There are other things, and I'll talk about one of the kind of hacks to getting to that 800 score. But collection is one of the easier ones. So how do you do this? What a credit company is doing is using a bunch of reference points that a company is sending them to say, hey, this person had credit with us and they didn't pay. And so what you have to do in order for that not to show up on your credit report is remove those references. So if the person that has a credit score, thanks for the questions. I'm going to get to those. So I'm not ignoring them, just so you know. So continue to put the questions in. But if they send a notification to the credit bureau and it says, okay, this person, Jonathan Smith, they live at this address, they work this job, this is the social, and they had this credit and they owe this amount and blah, blah, blah. And then the credit bureau goes and says, oh, like we've got this person, Jonathan Smith, let's see. Oh yeah, this person does live at that address. This person does have that job, and it looks like they do have that social. They kind of use all those reference points, say, yes, this is yours, and then they start to report this on your credit report. So what you want to do is basically block that. You want to block the credit bureau from being able to see where you live, where you work, just being able to pull all that information. And the funny thing is, it's actually pretty easy to do that. And who knows? In the future, I think some of this stuff will change. There's actually some stuff happening in the government where they're trying to change the way that the credit bureaus work and operate and kind of really have control over people's financial lives. And, in some cases, there are people like, because I have the same name as my dad, I would get stuff that was reported to me. And so these bureaus are not, God, they're not perfect. They mess up all the time. And so one of the things that you're able to do is block those reference points. One of the places that you can do that, they're usually checking with a company called SafeStream, and you can get SafeStream to just block off anybody being able to check and have those reference points. So that's kind of the higher level. Like I said, we're walking people in a lot of cases through this in the program now that credit has become such a big part of getting like really great ROI deals. It's interesting if you can decrease the amount that you have to pay for the business price-wise, that's powerful. But people forget about the financing aspect of it. If you've got a business and you're paying a 10% interest on that commercial debt, which is, that's still a really great deal in a lot of cases. If you can drop that in half, your profit over the course of 5 or 10 years really explodes. And we've been conditioned to think of these numbers as small numbers. But 5% is just a massive amount of money. And the bigger deal that you're doing, the more that really compounds. And so each one of those interest rates is worth, each one of those points, I should say, is worth doing the work to make sure that you're going to get the best deal on wherever you're accessing funds. So the other part of this is, I mentioned bankruptcies because I think that's the one that people think, okay, I just have no hope. There's no way for me to, move forward or be able to get commercial credit or whatever. And it's interesting, like even bankruptcies you can get removed. It's obviously, as it should be, a ton more work. You're going to the courthouse. You're, kind of a similar thing where LexisNexis. And I just got a notification. I got my a call coming up on the art deal that I'm very excited about. But when it comes to those, it's in person. Like you want to go to the courthouse. They still have a verification process that they go through with LexisNexis, and it's a similar process. And I'm getting notifications all over the place. It's still a process to get that taken off. But what I want to let you know is, like, even if you've got a bankruptcy, that is something that could be taken off, and it's got about a 50 to 60% success rate. So the overall picture, and I want to answer some of your questions because I do got to bounce out of here pretty quickly, but the overall picture is obviously, if you're in those two scenarios and there's hope, for most of you, you're not dealing with a bankruptcy, you're not dealing with serious collections or anything like that. You're just trying to figure out a few hacks to get from, a 780 to a 680 to a 750 to a 800. Those things are actually pretty easy. So you should pay attention to your credit, because unlike even 5 years ago, or especially 12 years ago, credit is now more powerful than ever. And there's just a huge opportunity of what we're doing, of taking credit and then going to other countries. One of the things, if you're in a Western country, and particularly like the US, the credit system inflates the value of assets. And so, like, if you take away all mortgages, the whole real estate economy would collapse. If you look at other countries, where I like to do, and I had a friend of mine trying to pitch a real estate deal in the U.S. Here recently, but where I like to do deals, whether it's business deals or real estate deals, they're operating 100% on cash, because they don't have their currency isn't a reserve currency. They don't have this big credit and banking infrastructure where people are just throwing out money. So when they've got to save up, like sometimes for generations, sometimes their whole life, and go and pay for this house, and that changes, number one, the ROI that you're able to get on those deals if you're buying that and turn it to Airbnb. But number two, it's not it's a real value. It's not inflated because of credit. And so you can take, when I mentioned in the title, this idea of credit arbitrage, you can take the money from where all the assets are inflated. And now it's like hyperinflation in the US, as far as just every asset across all bonds, stocks, real estate. It is just everything is super outrageously inflated. So you take access to the credit and then put that in other countries where it's actually the opposite. Because they don't have that trillions of dollars that have been sent into the market, that's now banks are fighting to get put to work. So there's actually a very big opportunity there to take advantage of the opportunity that exists right now. So if you're interested in us helping you with that, feel free to reach out. Go to acechapman.com. And fill out the form, and Nori or Andrew or one of the folks will reach out to you and let you know next steps. Shout out to, I did get we got a couple folks that joined Deal Makers from that last little live we did. So that was very cool. Very excited to have those folks on board. Cool. Let's go over to a couple questions, and then I do have to bounce to my next call. All right. What's up, Mr. Grove? He says, Thanks. You've been giving great information, and I've been making changes in my business. I love it. I finally started making profits. Just had our 1 year in March. That is beautiful. Would love to, if you want to share what the business is, would love to send you some traffic, maybe some customers. Just pop that in here before we bounce out. Duval, so where do, I'm assuming I start as it relates to credit. So the first thing is just understanding what your credit is, pulling the scores. And I'm not a fan. Actually, it's funny, when Credit Karma was a startup, I was in a business, partner in the business, and we were doing a deal with them like forever ago, which is unreal. I'm trying to think, it may have been 7, 8 years ago. So I was in a business and we're doing, so to see their growth has been outrageous. Never thought it would get that big, even when we were dealing with them. But as awesome as that is, I'm not a fan of us using that. It's great for just a consumer who's like, oh, maybe I'll get a credit card or that kind of thing. For us, we're trying to maximize our credit to the max. And so those free services I would stay away from. I would go to the actual like transunion.com, Experian, Equifax, pull the full credit. It's just worth the investment. A lot of times too, they have a thing where you can go through and dispute directly, and you get, I just feel like when you pay, you just get better service. That's just the way the world works. And so I feel like, it's just worth paying them if you're going to dispute something. But first thing is, just keeping an eye on your credit, understanding what, people, all of the simple things that, we discuss, you should always be getting inquiries removed. That just is a very easy thing. There's, then you get into some advanced stuff of getting on as an authorized signer to add things, but you can't do anything until you know where you are. And make sure that anything's not supposed to be there, that you do start to get those things off. Like I said, I honestly left because there were some things that, because my dad and I had gotten mixed up, that were great for me. And so I was like, hey, I'm gonna leave that on there because this credit line, like when I was younger, like that really helped me out. So there, you want to pay attention. You got to understand credit to know what you should be disputing and what you shouldn't be disputing. And Jonte says, I'm building my SOPs. Yeah. I was just having that conversation with in our PEFI group. Yeah, shout out to Tanner. Tanner was asking about SOPs. We're doing that we made our second acquisition in that, or they're doing everything. So I just helped them. They made their second acquisition and they're building out SOPs and all of that good stuff. So that is important. Wow, didn't think I'd ever catch you live. Thanks for popping in. Sherry, thank you so much for popping in. Hello. Iman, good vibes always. Life is too short for negative energy or negative vibes, man. I'm not here for it. All right, we'll get this last one. I think we got what the business is. All right, it's a daycare. All right, so I didn't know if it was an internet-based business. We might be able to send you over some customers, but that is awesome, man. One of the clients in the Dealmakers Institute is buying 2 daycares, I think, up in the Northeast. So I'm a big fan. We raised some capital for them. It's an exciting business. And I think that business is evolving based on just the new world that we live in. I think there are going to be a lot of folks that now, they're working from home, but they just want to break from their kids. And so it's going to open up a whole new type of daycare opportunity. Awesome. All right, let's get out of here. Fernell says, caught the tail end. Go ahead, rewatch it. Let me know if this was valuable. Plug in any other questions. I'll talk more about credit. I want everyone to take advantage. We are in a time of some very huge opportunities. And I want you guys to take advantage of all of the money that is out there that is just begging to get into your bank account so that you can do profitable deals. Thanks for popping in. Subscribe, like, why not? Stingy with the likes. People are hilarious, like so stingy with the likes. It's like, I'm saving my likes up. Can't get ROI on them. Might as well spend them. Out.